Deep in the Scottish Highlands where shadows stretch long and the wind carries ancient whispers, there's a legend, a tale told in hushed tones, a story that chills the very marrow of those who dare to hear it. It's a tale whispered around crackling peat fires, a story shared only in the dead of night. The Highlands hold many secrets, but none so terrifying as the legend of the White Death. They say she walks among us unseen, a wraith drawn to those who learn her name. To speak it aloud is to invite her presence, to draw her attention to your doorstep. And once she knows you know, she comes for you. The White Death isn't just a ghost. She's not content with simple hauntings or fleeting terrors. She desires something far worse, something far more absolute. She craves erasure, the complete and utter annihilation of your existence. Imagine, if you will, being utterly forgotten. Every photograph, every memory, every trace of your life, gone. Wiped clean from the minds of your loved ones, as if you never existed at all. That is the power of the White Death. The White Death wasn't always a harbinger of oblivion. She was once a girl, born in a time when the Highlands were even more unforgiving than they are today. Hers was a life untouched by joy, a bleak existence in a village where the sun rarely broke through the clouds and the wind carried the sting of the sea. Some whispered that she was cursed from birth, marked by a darkness that clung to her like a shroud. Others claimed she was simply born without the will to live, her spirit as barren as the moors themselves. Whatever the reason, her heart was filled with a profound despair, a longing for oblivion that consumed her every thought. Driven to the brink by her despair, the young woman sought a way out. Her heart was heavy with sorrow, and her mind clouded by the weight of her burdens. She felt trapped in a world that offered no solace, no respite from her anguish, a way to end her suffering, not just in life but in death as well. She longed for an escape, a release from the relentless torment that plagued her every waking moment. Legend has it that she ventured deep into the ancient Caledonian forest, a place where reality blurred with myth and the veil between worlds was thin. The forest was a realm of shadows and secrets, where the ordinary laws of nature seemed to bend and twist. There, amidst the whispering pines and the shadowed glens, she found what she sought. The air was thick with an eerie stillness, and the trees seemed to murmur ancient incantations, guiding her deeper into the heart of the forest. Not peace, but something far more insidious. The forest held a dark secret, a malevolent force that had lain dormant for centuries, waiting for a soul desperate enough to seek it out. She made a pact with an entity as old as the Highlands themselves. This being was a remnant of a forgotten age, a creature of immense power and unfathomable darkness, a being of immense power that dwelled in the spaces between breaths, in the silence between heartbeats. It was a presence that existed beyond the boundaries of the mortal realm, a shadow that slipped through the cracks of reality. In exchange for her soul, she would be granted her ultimate desire, to be free from her suffering. But the price was steep, and the consequences unimaginable. To cease to exist, to be utterly forgotten, erased from the tapestry of time itself. Her name, her memories, her very essence would vanish, leaving no trace behind. It was a fate both terrifying and liberating, a final escape from the pain that had consumed her. As she walked deeper into the forest, the shadows seemed to close in around her, and the air grew colder. The entity's presence was palpable, a dark force that seemed to pulse with malevolent energy. She reached an ancient crumbling altar, a relic of a time long past. The entity appeared before her, a shadowy figure with glowing eyes that pierced the darkness. It spoke in a voice that echoed through the forest, offering her the pact that would seal her fate. With trembling hands she accepted the pact, sealing her fate. The eerie light enveloped her, and she felt a cold, dark power coursing through her veins. The entity's presence seemed to merge with her own, and she knew that there was no turning back. As the forest returned to its eerie stillness, she began to fade into the shadows, her existence slowly being erased. The entity had fulfilled its promise, and she was now a part of the forest's dark legacy, a whisper in the wind, a shadow in the night. The pact, once made, could not be undone. It was a binding agreement, sealed with dark ink and ancient words, a contract that transcended time and space. The moment the ink dried, the fate of the young woman was sealed, her destiny intertwined with forces beyond her comprehension. The young woman returned from the forest a changed being. Her eyes, once full of life and hope, now reflected a haunted past. The forest had taken something from her, something vital, leaving behind a shell of her former self. She moved with a sense of purpose, yet her steps were heavy with the weight of the curse. Gone was the despair, replaced by a chilling emptiness. Her face, once expressive and full of emotion, was now a mask of indifference. The curse had stripped her of her humanity, leaving behind a void that could never be filled. She stood alone in a desolate field, a stark contrast to the vibrant life she once knew. She was a void, a blank slate upon which nothing could be written. Her mind, once filled with dreams and aspirations, was now an empty canvas, devoid of thought or feeling. The curse had erased her identity, leaving behind a hollow shell, a mere shadow of the person she once was. She walked among her people unseen, unheard, a ghost in her own lifetime. The villagers, who once greeted her with warmth and kindness, now passed by without a second glance. She was invisible, a specter moving through the world unnoticed, her presence a mere whisper in the wind. Those who looked upon her felt a bone-chilling fear, a primal instinct to turn away. Her very presence invoked a sense of dread, a deep-seated terror that gripped the hearts of those who dared to meet her gaze. It was as if they could sense the darkness that had taken hold of her soul. And then, as silently and mysteriously as she had lived, she vanished. One day she was simply gone, leaving behind an empty room and unanswered questions. The villagers whispered of her disappearance, but no one dared to search for her, fearing the curse that had claimed her. No trace of her remained, no memory in the minds of those who knew her. It was as if she had been erased from existence, her belongings left untouched, gathering dust in a forgotten corner. The curse had not only taken her life but also her legacy, leaving behind a void where she once stood. It was as if she had never been born. Her presence, her impact on the world was wiped clean, leaving no evidence of her existence. The family photo, once complete, now had a faded figure, a ghostly reminder of what once was. The empty cradle in the abandoned house stood as a testament to a life that never truly began. But the pact had a terrible price. The darkness that had claimed her soul now loomed over the village, a constant reminder of the curse that had taken hold. The villagers lived in fear, knowing that the same fate could befall them if they dared to make a similar pact. Her essence, her very being, was twisted and reshaped by the entity she had bargained with. The curse had not only taken her humanity but it also transformed her into something unrecognizable. Her face, once familiar, now morphed into a monstrous form, a reflection of the dark energy that consumed her. She became something new, something monstrous. Under the moonlight, her transformation was complete, her human form giving way to a creature of the night. The forest, once a place of refuge, now became her domain, a dark and foreboding place where she roamed, a predator in the shadows. She became the embodiment of oblivion itself. Her existence, once filled with promise, was now a dark void, a swirling abyss that consumed everything in its path. She was no longer the young woman who had made the pact, but a creature of darkness, a living curse that haunted the world. Imagine, if you will, a night like any other in the Highlands. The air is still, the only sound, the distant bleating of sheep. You're warm inside your home, a book in hand, the day's worries fading with the light. You feel safe, secure. But you've made a mistake. You've learned of the White Death. Her name, her legend, has wormed its way into your mind. And now, she knows. The silence is your first warning, a stillness that seems to press in on you, suffocating. The air grows heavy, the shadows deeper. Then you hear it, a sound so faint, so easily dismissed, that you almost convince yourself it was your imagination. A tap, a whisper of sound against the old oak of your front door. You tell yourself it's the wind, a stray branch brushing against the wood, but deep down, a seed of doubt is sown. Minutes crawl by, the silence returns, heavier than before. You try to focus on your book, on the crackling fire, on anything but that single, chilling knock. Then it comes again. 2 taps this time, slow, deliberate. There's no mistaking it now. Someone, or something, is at your door. Your heart pounds in your chest. You can feel the blood draining from your face, your hands growing clammy. A cold sweat prickles your skin, and in the pit of your stomach a dreadful certainty takes hold. You are not alone. Silence. An eternity of silence stretches between the second and third knock. Time itself seems to warp, to twist under the weight of anticipation. You know you shouldn't open the door. Every instinct screams at you to run, to hide, to pretend you're not home. But you're frozen, paralyzed by a fear so profound that it steals your breath, your voice, your very will. And in the silence you feel her presence growing stronger, closer. The third knock shatters the silence. This time there's no mistaking it for the wind or a stray animal. This is a knock of power, of purpose, of malice. Your heart thunders in your chest, a frantic drumbeat against the silence of the house. You want to scream, to plead for mercy, but your voice is trapped in your throat. You catch a glimpse of movement outside the window, a flicker of white in the darkness. You squeeze your eyes shut, praying it was just your imagination. But you know better, she's here, and she knows you've seen her. Reason flees, logic deserts you, all that's left is primal fear, raw and consuming. You hear her moving inside the house now, soft footsteps, barely audible but unmistakable. She's toying with you, savoring your terror, and then, a whisper. Your name, uttered in a voice as cold and lifeless as the grave. She's right outside the door now. You hold your breath, praying, pleading with a God you no longer believe in. But your prayers are for naught. It's too late. The final knock. Not on the door this time, but on the door of your sanity, your very soul. The door swings open, and she's there, the White Death. Her skin is as pale as moonlight, her eyes hollow black pits in a face beautiful and terrible to behold. She doesn't speak. She doesn't need to. Her very presence screams of oblivion, of erasure, of the end of everything you are and ever will be. This is it. This is the end. Her touch is not the searing pain one might expect from a creature born of darkness. It's cold, unimaginably cold, as if all the warmth, all the life is being sucked from your very core. Your vision blurs. The room spins. You try to pull away, to fight back, but your limbs are leaden, your will sapped. As she gazes into your eyes, you see your life flashing before them. But it's not a comforting montage of cherished memories. It's a chaotic jumble of moments, both significant and mundane, stripped of all meaning. And then as quickly as it began, it's over. She withdraws her touch, her hand glowing faintly as if she just extinguished a candle flame. You're still alive, your heart still beats, you still draw breath. But something is terribly wrong. The room around you, once so familiar, now seems strange and distorted. You recognize the objects, the furniture, the layout, but it's as if you're seeing it all for the first time. You pick up a framed photograph, your hand trembling. Faces smile back at you, faces you should know, but you don't. Who are these strangers? And why does your heart ache with a grief so profound it threatens to shatter you? The memories, once so vivid, are fading, slipping away like sand through your fingers, leaving behind only emptiness and a chilling sense of wrongness. She's gone, vanished as silently and mysteriously as she arrived, but you are not alone. You are surrounded by the ghosts of your own forgotten life. You wander from room to room, a stranger in your own home. Every object, every surface, whispers of a life you no longer remember, a life that's been stolen from you. You catch your reflection in a mirror and recoil in horror. The face staring back at you is your own, yet not. The eyes are vacant, the expression blank, as if all the warmth, all the personality has been leached away. You are a void, an empty shell, a being that exists but has never truly lived. And the most terrifying thing of all, you are aware of your own oblivion. Dawn breaks over the Highlands. The world spins on, oblivious to the horror that unfolded just hours before. Birds sing. The wind whispers through the heather. Life, in all its cruel indifference, continues. But inside the cottage, a silence reigns. A silence so profound, so absolute that it seems to press in on the walls, suffocating any remaining trace of what once was. The remnants of a life, interrupted. A meal left half-eaten. A book lying open as if dropped in haste. These are the only clues that someone once lived here, once breathed, once dreamed within these walls, but there's no one left to remember them. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months. The seasons change, painting the Highlands in hues of gold and crimson, then shrouding them once more in winter's icy grip. The villagers, bound by tradition and superstition, whisper amongst themselves. They speak of strange occurrences, of sudden silences, of faces vanishing from photographs. Some recall the legend of the White Death, their voices hushed, their eyes wide with a fear that runs deeper than any earthly threat. But no one dares to speak her name aloud. To do so would be to invite her attention, to draw her gaze upon themselves, and they know deep down that some fates are worse than death. The cottage stands empty. Its windows, once aglow with the warmth of life, now stare blankly into the cold, unforgiving winter. The snow blankets the roof, muffling any sound that might dare to break the silence. A silent sentinel overlooking the village, it stands as a monument to a time long past. The villagers go about their lives, casting wary glances up the hill, where the cottage looms like a ghostly guardian, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurks at the edge of their world. The forest, thick and foreboding, whispers secrets to those who dare to listen. It is said that the trees themselves remember the horrors that once unfolded here. No one dares to approach it, not even the bravest of souls. The path leading to the cottage is overgrown and forgotten, a testament to the fear that grips the hearts of the villagers, let alone set foot within its cursed walls. The door, once welcoming, is now locked and barred, as if to keep something sinister from escaping. The windows boarded up hide the secrets that lie within. It has become a place of whispers and shadows where the past lingers like a ghost. The rooms, once filled with life, are now empty and cold, echoing with the memories of what once was. A testament to the White Death's chilling power. The winter wind howls through the cracks in the walls, a mournful song that speaks of loss and despair. The fire that once burned brightly within its hearth is long extinguished, leaving behind only ashes and the faintest hint of wood smoke. The warmth that once filled the cottage is now a distant memory, leaving behind only ashes and the faintest hint of wood smoke. The remnants of burnt wood tell a story of a time when the cottage was alive with the crackling of flames and the laughter of its inhabitants. The life that once animated its walls, the laughter and tears that once echoed through its rooms, are gone. The dust settles on forgotten furniture, a silent witness to the passage of time. The laughter and tears that once echoed through its rooms are gone, wiped clean from the tapestry of time. The hallways, once bustling with activity, now stand empty and silent, are gone, wiped clean from the tapestry of time. The faded photographs on the walls tell a story of a family that once lived here, their faces now blurred by the passage of years. And so, the silence lingers. It hangs in the air, heavy and oppressive, a constant reminder of what has been lost. The stillness is almost tangible, as if the very walls are holding their breath. A chilling reminder that some things are best left forgotten, some stories best left untold. The landscape itself seems to agree, shrouded in mist and shadow, hiding its secrets from prying eyes. Some stories best left untold. The old closed book on the table is a testament to this, its pages filled with tales of sorrow and loss that are better left unread. Whispering, for the White Death is always listening, waiting. The shadows whisper her name, a constant reminder that she is never far away, and when she calls your name, there will be no one left to remember who you were. The figure in the fog is a harbinger of doom, a silent witness to the fate that awaits those who dare to remember. There will be no one left to remember who you were. The village, once vibrant and alive, now stands empty and desolate, a ghost town that speaks of forgotten lives and untold stories. The legend of the White Death is more than just a scary story. It's a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks at the edges of our world, a darkness that whispers on the wind. It's a fear that gnaws at the edges of our dreams. The fear of being forgotten, of being erased, of ceasing to exist, not just in body but in the hearts and minds of those we love. The White Death preys on that fear. She feeds on it, growing stronger with each life she claims, with each soul she erases from existence. Her power lies not in brute force but in the insidious nature of her touch. She doesn't kill, she erases. And in a world where our memories define who we are, what could be more terrifying? So tonight, as you huddle in the safety of your home, remember the legend of the White Death. Remember the chilling tale of the girl who craved oblivion and the monstrous entity she became. And if, in the dead of night, you hear a knock at your door, a slow, deliberate knock that sends shivers down your spine, don't answer it, don't acknowledge it, don't even entertain the thought that it could be anything but her. For to do so would be to invite oblivion into your life, to risk becoming another forgotten soul, lost to the whims of the White Death. Remember the legend, and never, ever forget, whispering, she's always listening.